Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. I'm so excited to be joined by Jack Gibson, highly regarded as an international speaker, entrepreneur, and financial thought leader. Jack has been driven success in business and life and has built multiple profitable businesses. In many cases in real estate. He's a sought after speaker, and I don't want to take away any of his thunder because he hosts a fantastic high return real estate podcast and has so much other content out there. Jack Gibson, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited.
Absolutely. So I love to get to know the person behind the microphone. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you've caught that entrepreneurial bug.
I was fortunate. I was raised by two dads, kind of the rich dad, poor dad scenario that Robert Kiyosaki talks about in his book. I had a second father that was an entrepreneur, a wealthy farmer. He had 3 different companies. And then I had my real dad, and I wouldn't call him poor by any stretch. You know, he was the professional, went to, his philosophy was go to school, get a great job, work your way up the corporate ladder. And then I had my other uncle, the one that really created, a multi-million-dollar portfolio. He was all about, buying businesses and then reinvesting your profits back into those businesses. That's a way to grow wealth. So I got both perspectives, and that gave me the entrepreneurial spirit at a very young age. Started in direct sales marketing business when I was 19, and just everything took off from there. And I made a lot of mistakes along the way, so we can certainly dive into that as well.
Sure. Well, 19 years old, if I understand correctly, that's before you could even rent a car, and you have already established at that point a multi-million-dollar venture, which is pretty exciting. Let's talk about real estate for a second, because that's sort of your claim to fame over here. You not only have made a lot of money in real estate, but you also teach a lot of folks. How did you catch that, and what advice do you have for our listeners?
Well, I read the book, that I alluded to, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, back in 2001. At that point, I was in the beginnings of building my marketing business. So I saw the vision for building cash flow producing real estate portfolio, but I didn't have any money, and I knew that it would distract me. So I kind of put it on hold until 2008. We were expecting a baby, my wife and I, so we needed to sell our house and move into something bigger with a better floor plan. And of course, the market just tanked right when we were about to try to sell it. So we turned it into a rental, and we rented it out for 10 straight years. It only had 1 month of vacancy. I knew after, a few years of doing that I should get more of these. This is a great way to create consistent cash flow. So I started scaling up a portfolio by buying turnkey rental property in other markets besides my own. And then that led to, oh my gosh, there's lots of other investors that want the same thing. They want access and exposure into the real estate market, but they don't know where to begin. They don't have time to go out and acquire deals. So I formed a company called High Return Real Estate. We have a podcast, 80 episodes with my partner Shecky, Jeff Schechter, and we started offering completed turnkey rehab property that cash flows from day one. And we started selling lots of them, 300 or 400, I think, deals we've done so far.
Well, I've been taking notes over here. There's a lot of things I've already learned in terms of your focus, and definitely it sounds like you continue to study, continue to pay attention to the market, and continue to pay attention to the trends. But indeed, as you alluded to earlier, not everything has always been on the side of winning. You have made some mistakes, and some of the best advice that I know our listeners have received is from the mistakes that have been made. Again, I'm chatting with Jack Gibson. Jack, if you can sort of tell us a little bit more. Tell us about some of those mistakes and what our listeners need to know that might set them on a path to success.
Well, when I was 21, I was a senior in college. It was right before 2000. I was set to graduate. I'd banked up $50,000 in cash while I was going to school. That was pretty impressive for a college kid, I still think to this day. But what I did with the money was unimpressive. I invested in things that I had no understanding about. I was chasing returns. I was trying to, get rich quick. I put all that money into tech stocks without having a strategy. And that, of course, blew up in the dot-com bubble in 2000, and I lost most of that money. And then on top of that, I had to sell the rest of it because I needed the cash to live on. I was going into the real world, where you have to pay your own bills. And
that.
Right. Oh, that. And so I realized quickly that, I was made several mistakes in terms of not only buying things I didn't understand, but also not having my foundation set on a strong bedrock of real tangible assets. So from that point forward, I never invested into anything really risky with my principal capital. My philosophy is invest into things you understand and things that are relatively safe. I mean, no investment is completely safe. Then take the streams of passive income that are coming in, and then you could use those to fund your risky bets, buy
That's
your
powerful.
crypto, your pre-IPOs, that sort of stuff.
That's powerful. So my key takeaways over here is definitely you had an entrepreneurial spirit sort of instilled in you, and it certainly sounds like you are instilling that in with your two boys, and you have a lot of fun with them. You've talked about having that strategy. You've talked about definitely investing in doing work in areas that you understand, and certainly again the opportunities in real estate, which is awesome, which has allowed you to build multiple passive streams of income. I want to get you in touch, our listeners in touch with your podcast and your website. How can we get in touch?
I have two different podcasts. The main one that I'm focused on right now is Indestructible Wealth. This is to teach entrepreneurs cash management, teach them how to invest their money. I call it the make, keep, and grow formula. They can just go to myindestructiblewealth.com. All my podcasts, blogs, community is right there. And then for those that are really into real estate, it's a specific show on real estate called the Higher Return Real Estate Show. We just fired it back up, and it's
awesome.
Ready to go.
Jack, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back and get down to business.
Thanks so much.